It's the end of day one here at IPBC Asia 2016 in Shanghai, and here we are, the editorial team and I, on top of the Ritz Carlton Hotel overlooking the Bund and obviously the Oriental Pearl Tower there in the background. We're heading into the gala dinner. You can hear the music already, but let's get a quick wrap of some of the action here. Day one of IPBC Asia. And Joff, your first panel discussion really kicked it. You had such great guests on that discussion.
Absolutely. We had Paul Lin from Xiaomi and Micky Minhas from Microsoft. They gave us a fantastic insight into what we believe is one of the great breakthrough deals of 2016, the hookup between the two that was announced in May this year.
Now, when it comes to China as a market, obviously, there are many things happening as well, and they also talked about the development curve that China's been on.
Absolutely. I think, 30 years ago, China didn't have a patent law. Now we're talking about multi-billion-dollar deals between multi-billion-dollar companies. What was fascinating, I think, about the conversation this morning was how both companies put so much emphasis on the win-win situation. It wasn't one company going to the other and dictating terms. It was two companies working together to get a deal that worked for both of them.
Now, Joff, you're going to be getting stories to edit from, among others, Jacob Schindler. You're the man here in Asia. You've got your ear to the ground. What have people been saying here day one?
Well, I spoke with a delegate from a European company last night, and it was his first IPBC. He said the reason he's here for the first time ever is because his boss has come to him and said, we need a China strategy. And I think that's a sentiment that we've heard a lot of.
Okay, now that might sound obvious, but really what is at the heart of that? Why do you need a China strategy?
Well, you need a China strategy because I think everybody acknowledges that risks are increasing here, no matter what country your company is from. So you've had some very high-profile litigation filed in Chinese courts against foreign companies. That's something that everybody needs to plan for, regardless of how much business they actually have in this country.
Yes. But you've actually devoted a whole afternoon session to starting up in China. What were some of the other key points to come from that?
Yeah, that's right. We had some top Chinese IP managers for European and US companies. And the consensus was that you really need to have that local presence. You need to have a team on the ground here with their ear to the ground in order to appreciate what's going on. It's such a complex system, and as I well know as a reporter, it can be difficult to get good information about what's going on here.
Yeah, it's all about the local knowledge, right? And that's why you have been here in China. What are some of the developments that you've seen over the last 2 years since IPBC Asia was here in Shanghai?
Yeah, 2 years ago when IPBC Asia was in Shanghai, we started to see China starting to become a key jurisdiction, and we were talking about maybe the value of Chinese patents will come up with the increased number of filings here, and also potential of having litigation in China, and also potential possibilities of doing deals with Chinese companies. But now everything is happening. It's like dreams come true for some of the companies. So you will hear about Chinese company doing multi-billion transactions, and also NPEs and also operating companies are starting litigation in China. So 2 years later, like I said, this is a great achievement and developments in China, and further to what Jake was saying about China is still a very complex jurisdiction and is less sophisticated, still is in the early stage. Because it's the early stage, because it's complicated, that's why it's very important to have a presence in China. And a lot of times Chinese company does not want to do a simple IP deal. They want to make a very strategic, multifaceted transaction or licensing or partnership. Yes. So it takes time, takes efforts, takes a lot of communications. So again, it's important to have a team on the ground.
What would be the most important deal that's being discussed at IPBC Asia these 2 days, and that will also be discussed at IPBC China in Beijing in April?
I think litigation. China has become the emerging battleground for international companies and also for MPE. IPBC China is about 6 months away, and I think before that, hopefully, we can hear the results from the Nanjing court about the Weinan vs. Sony case, and also before that, we'd like to hear if the more litigation lawsuits will start in IP courts or a local court, and also apart from the Xiaomi Microsoft deal, like the litigation, a Chinese company that are involved in India, also in China, whether they will settle this and whether there's more licensing and transaction deals be done in the next 6 months. So we're watching closely.
So we are indeed. Lots to talk about here at IPBC Asia 2016 in Shanghai. We're going to go in from the cold, and we're now heading to the IPBC Asia Industry Awards. See you tomorrow.